Today's forum and our political season is supported by Hannah News Service and the Ohio Farm Bureau Federation, and U.S. Bank and Corning provided support for this forum. Please join me in thanking all of our sponsors and welcome Jeff Hastings, Central Ohio President of U.S. Bank, to introduce today's program.
Thank you. Well, as you heard, I am Jeff Hastings. I'm the Market President for Central Ohio Office of U.S. Bank. This is a great day for me. I'm honored to represent over 400 plus employees that reside in Franklin and in Delaware County in Central Ohio, and also one of the many board members with the Columbus Zoo that are here today. So U.S. Bank, extremely proud to be part of this event, proud to support the mission of the Columbus Metropolitan Club to bring forward the people, topics that make us really proud to be part of the Central Ohio community. Today we're going to hear two sides from two sides who are very passionate and believe in a very serious issue, although with entirely different outcomes. Serving as the moderator for today is a familiar face, recently retired from Channel 6 and 28, but still one of Columbus' favorite journalists. Please welcome Carol Looper. Today, speaking on behalf of the Zoo Levy, are Tom Stalf, CEO of the Zoo, and John Kulewicz. Speaking against the Zoo Levy are Jim Becker and Mary Lorms. Again, thanks for everybody for coming. Carol, the microphone is yours.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. And thank you to the audience. You can read everybody's bio and everybody's position in the program that's on the table, so we're not going to take time to talk about who each of these people are. You can tell from their answers which sides they're on. And if you take time, read today's program. First, I'm going to talk about our rules today and our format. I have been told in no uncertain terms, as moderator, I am in charge. Each side will have 4 minutes to provide opening comments and 2 minutes for closing comments. Time allotments are for each side, not for each speaker. As previously decided by coin toss, the for side will go first for opening comments and last for closing comments. During the program, I will be asking questions that I have come up with. Each side will have an opportunity to respond, and I will allow rebuttals as warranted. When I say next question or time is up, we will move on to the next question, and everyone up on the platform will courteously stop talking. As you know, CMC's tradition is to take audience questions. 15 minutes of our program time will be reserved for this prior to closing statements from each side. So each side has 4 minutes. Your turn, starting now.
Thank you, Carol, and good afternoon. Well, no matter what side you are on, there is good news for everybody today. Columbus, Ohio, once again has become the political epicenter of the United States. Now, if you're like me, you may be wondering, how did our little old zoo levy all of a sudden become the subject of national attention? We have had a zoo levy in Franklin County since 1985. It is a very small levy, and it has always been very uncontroversial. It amounts to only 0.8% of the average annual residential property tax bill, and adoption of this proposed levy would add only 43 cents a week to the contribution of a Franklin County family with a $100,000 home. So why all of a sudden were ABC News, the New York Times, and others calling yesterday to ask about the Columbus Zoo levy? I would like to think that it is because the Columbus Zoo is the #1 zoo in the nation. It is the most affordable zoo in the nation. Franklin County is the fastest growing county in the nation, And the $18 million investment that the taxpayers of Franklin County made in the Columbus Zoo last year resulted in $238 million in jobs and job-related income last year alone. That is almost a miracle, and it is something that, especially when you compare it to where we were 40 years ago, it is thanks to the support and the confidence of the voters of Franklin County since 1985. It's something that we should all be very proud of, and it's something that we should let the entire nation know about. That's why I thought they would be calling. But there was a different reason. The national news media is calling because we have a new friend in town. He, she, or it is called Americans for Prosperity. And he, she, or it lives at 2111 Wilson Boulevard, Suite 350, Arlington, Virginia, 22201. This out-of-state organization, it is a secret organization, but we know that it has deep pockets and, as you probably know, extreme views. This week, our new friend here in Franklin County began filling the mailboxes of our neighbors here in Franklin County with misinformation about the proposed zoo levy that is so shocking that even the wiliest bonobo at the Columbus Zoo would blush. They are telling people of Franklin County that adoption of the levy would more than double your entire property tax bill. It would not. It would not. And I want you to be the first to know that we, this day, have filed a complaint with the Ohio Elections Commission to stop the dissemination of this sort of unworthy information in our county. This is a family dialogue. If this out-of-state friend wants to be part of our family, that's fine, but they must abide by the same rules of truth that we use in our family dialogue here in Franklin County. And that's why we have done this, to protect and defend the interest of all of us in Franklin County and what we, the people of Franklin County, have built here since 1985. This afternoon, we will hear two different visions of the future of our community and the Columbus Zoo. On behalf of the Committee for the 2014 Columbus Zoo Levy, I thank you very much for listening to us, and I invite you to consider which view better captures your hopes for the future as we talk here today amongst ourselves as friends and family. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Jim, are you speaking on behalf?
Yes, actually, we're going to split the time.
Okay, very good. Start now.
Thanks, Carol. It's good to be back in the athletic club after having been a 25-year member, and Mary and I both want to thank you very much for having us down today. We represent Citizens for Responsible Taxation, and we want to make some points regarding this upcoming levy. First, this is not the first, not the second, but the third zoo that we're talking about funding. We have the campus up in Delaware, a great facility. Almost all of our members, in fact, all of our members, have been family members and supported the zoo for years, and we like it. But a third zoo becomes problematic. Now, people may be wondering, where's the third zoo? Well, the second zoo is the 9,000 plus acres that we have at the Wilds that we took over a number of years ago in Muskingum County, and this will be indeed at an estimate of $65 million for a downtown zoo, our third zoo. That seems to be just a little bit over the top. As our literature says, we love the zoo, but this will also double what Franklin County taxpayers currently pay for the zoo. It's going to go from 21 per 100,000, and there's not that many $100,000 homes, to $44 per 100,000 evaluation. Depending on your home price, that's going to be your return on how much that's going to be. That's over a 105% increase to the zoo. Number three, Delaware isn't paying this. We favor regionalization. We like the zoo. Okay, this is up in Delaware. We're fine with that, but Muskingum and Delaware aren't paying this. Franklin County taxpayers have had to go this alone. Another point, 24% currently of the zoo's revenues, okay, are taxpayer-based. In other words, they're getting from Franklin County taxpayers $18 million a year. If this passes, that's moving from $18 million, or 24% of their funding, to 36%, because that'll be $33 million. And before I turn it over to Mary, we always get a little concerned with people used to hear it's just a slice of pizza or it's a tank of gas. Nobody's talking about tanks of gas anymore because that's $60 or $70, you all know, to fill up. 43 cents a week, that's a myopic way to look at this. This is, over a 30-year period, almost $1 billion that they're asking for from Franklin County taxpayers. Mary?
Thank you. Good afternoon. How do you squander 30 years of loyalty and generous financial support? There's 4 ways. The first of this is excessive spending for capital projects, and is unprecedented in the programs that the zoo offers. It's the wasteful use of taxpayer money. Think about this. We have the #1 zoo, and we're going to try to duplicate it at the riverfront. We do not need a 3rd zoo. We do not need a parking lot to go with the zoo, and I'm not sure if we need 4 adventure projects to go with this. It is a duplication, and most taxpayers that I have spent time with said it is diverting our attention and our funds to our main zoo. The 3rd reason is arrogance. Because they did not consider a renewal or a replacement, it has taken away the one privilege we have as voters when there is a levy, that we can give an up and down vote. Are you spending our money wisely?
I'm going to have to stop you there.
I'm sorry, I can't see for the light.
That's fine. I can, and it's my job to stop you, so thank you. I'm going to start with the for side and ask, if the levy were to fail, what changes would we see? What would happen?
Give me an opportunity. First of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you all. We are so proud of the relationship that we've had for the last 29 years. And as we look at the economic growth, the jobs, and the job-related income, we're very proud of over 2,000 employees that we have at the zoo that are wearing baby blue. And they're smiling at our guests, and we're creating smiles for everyone. But as we look into the future, we look at the mission that we have as leading and inspiring by connecting people with wildlife. When you ask what will happen if this doesn't move forward, well, you'll receive less. You'll receive less of the opportunities, less jobs, less impact. When we talk about downtown, I want to make sure people realize 91% of this levy is about the main campus. Only 9% is about downtown. But why would we be downtown? It's simple. It's to connect people, to give people an opportunity to grow tourism, have jobs, hundreds of jobs. And so I'm an optimist. I'm a person that looks for opportunities. And I sit back and I look at the investment that this community has given to the Columbus Zoo. And the reason why you love the zoo is because of that partnership that we've had for 29 years. So we're excited. I want to know how we can. I don't want to hear how we can't.
Response? We can go on to another question unless you want to respond.
No, we would like to respond. The word investment and $238 million, we've got a number of links on our website to that. There's, to claim that you're doing, and we don't doubt that the zoo does have some economic impact, but these are based on a lot of multipliers. Somebody came up to Delaware, went to the zoo, maybe they bought a tank of gas, maybe they bought a pizza, maybe they stayed overnight, maybe they didn't. And if you check the websites, I mean, every NFL football team, every Major League Baseball team, every hockey team, every NBA basketball team has tried to argue that stadiums have made an economy. And there's numerous links, including with Forbes. Bill Baldwin from Forbes wrote an article on this in 2005 that says that taxing yourself rich doesn't really work, that the multipliers aren't there, and that these are greatly inflated. So while there may be some economic impact, which, by the way, we've asked for this study since February, haven't gotten it, it's a figure that gets bantied around, but so far we haven't seen anything to back it up.
And I need to ask you, since it was brought up, and anybody who read the dispatch either online or this morning's paper, front page article about Americans for Prosperity, are you linked to them, and do you welcome their influence in Franklin County?
And as the article said, Carol, absolutely not. We have no knowledge of anybody that met with Americans for Prosperity. They're free under the First Amendment, and if you've been following anything the United States Supreme Court has been doing recently, they've been loosening this up under First Amendment rights, and Americans for Prosperity is apparently felt to come in here. We think a big part of that is the fact that USA Today in February of this year reported that Columbus is the 5th highest taxed municipality in the United States of America. That's pretty sobering. 5th highest taxed municipality in the United States. They considered state income, local income, property taxes, sales taxes. By the way, that doesn't include the fact that we've already gone from 6.75 to 7.5. So when you get a USA Today article on that, Carol, that is on the front page and has those kind of sobering statistics, we're not surprised that some other national group may have picked up on that.
Let me ask the foresight a question that I have been asked ever since people knew that I was going to be moderating today. The zoo is in Delaware County. It is Franklin County taxpayers who are to pay this tax and who have been paying. Shouldn't there be some sort of regionalization or at least some sort of split for Delaware and Franklin County?
Yes, regionalization is absolutely an idea whose time is going to come sooner or later to our area. We are in the fastest growing part of the state. Franklin County is the fastest growing county. Sooner or later, it's going to be here. And when it comes, I think the support for the zoo has to be regionalized. But the fact of the matter is that the Columbus Zoo has been up in Delaware County since the mayor and the city council back in 1927 put the leftover reindeer from the Christmas parade that year up in the newly acquired city waterland. And they liked it there, and they invited all their friends, and we have 10,000 animals up there today. We, the people of Franklin County, own that land, and we, the people of the city of Columbus and Franklin County, collectively own that land. And Ms. Looper, if you're from Delaware County, what you would probably be asking me is, wait a minute, why am I paying for your fire protection, your security protection, your EMS service, and I am paying $7.5 million more in real estate taxes as a Delaware County citizen because you, the people of Franklin County, have taken 580 acres off of my tax duplicate. We can't get any tax money for that, so to pay the bills of Delaware County, I've got to pay $7.5 million more. So the people of Delaware County, rest assured, regionalization will come one day, but in the meantime, they are supporting the zoo, and we appreciate it very much.
Response?
Well, it hasn't come soon enough, and that's the problem. First, when we sent Mr. Kulewicz this morning some emails regarding the fastest growing county, Franklin County is not the fastest growing county in Ohio. The fastest growing county in Ohio, and one of the fastest growing counties in the United States of America, is Delaware County. And Delaware County has an exemplary zoo facility with 588 acres as it currently sits. Regarding the amount of taxes that they're giving up, yes, the zoo property does sit on tax-free land because it's either owned by the city or by the county up in Delaware. They get the sales tax, okay, but there's no per se real estate tax on that. But even if you accept what Tom Stalf said on the Ann Fisher show on February 21st about, well, if Tuttle Mall was there, and that's not going to happen because most of that, well, a great deal of that property is in a floodplain. If you extrapolate that it's worth $7 million, which is very, very high, even if you assume that, Franklin County taxpayers are currently depositing $18 million. So you have $7 million here and 18 here, and if this levy passes, you're going to have $7 million here. That's best case, and we disagree with that, versus $33 million here, almost five-fold. That's not fair. So whatever this regionalization talk is, we'd like to see that accelerated.
And So would we, but in the meantime, we don't believe that the perfect should be the enemy of the good. We have something very good going up there for the people of Franklin County. We've had it going very good up there since 1985, and we should continue it. Thank you.
There is talk about what the levy will actually go for. You said 9% will be the downtown, a downtown zoo. There's a new tram, there is a new animal hospital. Will you outline how much of the levy will go to what?
Like I had said, 91% of this levy ask is going to the main campus. The community is excited about the opportunities for the growth, and so let's just talk about the main campus, and then I can talk about downtown as well. The main campus, we survey our employees, but also our guests all the time, wanting to know how are we doing? And the great thing that we're getting is a response back that we are providing an excellent guest experience. And our number one goal is animal welfare. And so when we look at that, we want to look at how we can give our guests a better opportunity to see animals, to learn about all the conservation efforts, and that big picture of wildlife and wild places. Well, we also realize that we are a large campus, and not everyone is going to be able to run around chasing after their grandkids. So we want to give a tram system that gives people an opportunity to see regions of the world, and they can get in and still be fresh when they get back to their car. So a transportation system is vital for us. We did talk about, and we will do, an upgrade to our animal hospital. We also realize that as people enter into the zoo, they want to see animals and they want to have a place that they can meet and greet their families and have an opportunity to get up close to animals. So we feel that sea lions and harbor seals would be a great way to get people excited. You can see these animals year-round. They're fantastic and they're attractive, and that will open up a place that's called Wild World. An opportunity for people that can see animals, enjoy animals, and experience something that they've never experienced before.
I need you to get to the downtown zoo, please.
But also, let me get to downtown, but real quick. The bottom line is, the majority of the money is going to maintain what we have. We have buildings that were built in the 50s. We have a facility that was built in 1984. So it's asset protection and improving what we have. That's the most important thing. So let's talk about downtown real quick. It's an opportunity to serve everyone. And there are people in Columbus that don't have the opportunity to come up to the zoo every single day. And we want to inspire them and educate them. And we also realize that the convention centers and the hotels are packed. But they're only here for a couple days because of business. We want to give people an opportunity to hear what Jack has been talking about for the last 36 years. And to be able to see things that they haven't seen before. And it's an opportunity for us to be part of that revitalization of the Scioto Peninsula. Look at all of the people that are moving into downtown and the excitement. They want that growth and that opportunity. The most important thing, it's creating jobs. It's creating construction jobs. It's creating people that are going to be able to educate the people. So I look at the opportunities. And when you say the investment of $18 million, look at your ROI of $238 million that same year. It is a good opportunity for us as we talk about growth.
Response?
Yes, thank you. The downtown zoo, which you didn't mention anything about spending, is $65 million. The garage is between 20 and 30 because they say downtown improvements, but they also had adventure projects. That's a sizable amount of money, $95 million. And I will grant you there are some very serious capital programs that the zoo has to undertake in the main zoo. But the excessiveness of all the projects in a 15-year period, because that is what your strategic plan year by year put down, are excessive. And you're talking $275 million. Finally, you only have 10% of all the monies raised by private concerns, donations, and grants. $365 million is by the taxpayer. Plus, that doesn't even count $55 million for debt service. There's so many hidden items, and it's not intentional. It just happens. If you don't have if you're not on time, it's not on budget, the taxpayer is going to pay for it. It is not essential that you have this third downtown zoo. Thank you.
Absolutely.
It's so important that when we're talking to people, either in this room or throughout Columbus, that we tell the truth and make sure that our numbers are right. So when you spout off 95 million, that has never been part of the plan whatsoever. So don't scare the voters. Make sure you're telling the truth. It's important. When I see your website that it's saying that we're knocking down Vets Memorial to put a zoo a facility on that space for a banquet hall, that is a lie. Don't do that to the voter. Make sure you're telling the truth. I'm not a debater. I'm not a politician. I love animals. I educate and inspire people. I want to make sure that every single person has the truth when they go to vote. So please do me a favor, and when you have your numbers, make sure they're accurate.
Go ahead, sure.
This paper here is part of the zoo strategic plan. These are their figures. I have passed out 1,800 of these flyers, door to door, senior centers, you name it, I've been there. Every library, 24 libraries in Franklin County. These are your numbers, not mine. This is not a lie. Just read the strategic plan if the zoo will print it. Thank you.
In a few minutes, we're going to have audience questions. Please start thinking of your questions, and if you want to start lining up at that microphone, when it's your turn, you'll say your name and ask a question. There are potentially giant pandas. There is a new exhibit I learned from watching television opening May 22nd. These are all in the works already. Will there be more new things paid for by this levy? More new exhibits that are planned that won't happen if the levy fails?
Absolutely. As we look forward, and we just revised our master plan as we talk about the future, the majority of the master plan is focusing on asset protection and maintaining what we have. But we also realize that there are many species that we're not able to represent at this time, Central and South American animals. We also, the animals that we have currently, we want to make sure that we're giving the guests a great experience. So when we talk about the future and we talk about this levy, it is so vital that we have the opportunity to invest and to be able to provide new experiences. When you talk about if the levy doesn't pass, then those experiences will change. It will be less, and when we look at the economic impact and the jobs, they'll be less. And so, again, I want to make sure people realize how much we appreciate the last 29 years. The reason why the zoo is #1 and rated the top zoo in the nation is because of the fact that we've had a partnership with so many entities. But the #1 is the Franklin County voter.
We have been seeing television ads for quite a while now, featuring Jack Hanna, featuring members of the public. Are you planning on going public between now and a week from Tuesday in terms of mass media?
Oh, well, I'm glad you asked that question. Mr. Kulewicz earlier talked about deep pockets. We saw the zoo's financials yesterday, and they had raised $533,000 with about the same amount of donors as we had. So their donor base was on 3 sheets, roughly 24, 25 donors. We had the same amount. We raised $3,100. So in case the audio's not working, that would be $3,100. No, we don't have, unless some of those nice people that we had lunch with are going to give us deep discounts on television, I don't think we're going to be doing anything like that, no.
So how are you getting the word out for your side?
Well, I think this has shifted a tremendous amount. www.zootax.org is our website. We do have a number of dedicated volunteers that are dropping literature. We have a yard sign campaign. We're picking up a lot of traction, and we're getting more and more people all the time with this. So, but no, we do not plan, nor do we conceivably see any way to afford any kind of mass media, Carol.
Please.
On our part, I do want to take the opportunity to thank those in the room who have contributed to the zoo campaign, not only financially, but from the perspective of my heart, even more importantly, with your feet, by going out on our neighborhood canvases. Every one of the past several weekends, we've been going to neighborhoods throughout Franklin County, door to door, face to face, Franklin Countyans talking to Franklin Countyans. It's been a wonderful experience. It's been very reassuring and encouraging about what the people of Franklin County think of the zoo, what they expect from the zoo, and what they hope for the zoo. So I mean, those are our biggest donations. And if you think, Mr. Becker, that the zoo's fundraising is disproportionate, I will hereby offer to trade you all of our donors for the Koch brothers.
And in,
I want you to please respond quickly.
well, in response to the Koch brothers, I guess that their financials yesterday were 20,000, so they're still paling in comparison to what I saw yesterday.
Subject, though, just to go back to something you said before, would you tell us whether or not your spokesman had a copy of that mailer before it was even mailed to people? This offensive mailer that's told people that their whole entire property tax is going to double?
I have no idea what my first, I don't have a spokesperson.
Michael
but
Gondakis.
whoever you're referring to, I have no idea what's in people's possessions, John,
Okay.
any more than you would.
Okay.
We're going to go to audience questions now. Well, let's do our traditional wrap-up here, and if your answer comes out when somebody else asks a question, you'll have an opportunity. It is the tradition of Columbus Metropolitan Club to take audience questions. We thank you in advance for avoiding long editorial comments, and I will reserve the right to pass on your question or editorial comment to move to the next question. We want to get as many of your audience questions in as possible and provide some for each side to answer some time. Please go to the microphone, please state your name and ask your question.
Thanks. My name's Marie Trudeau. I'm with W.E. Davis Insurance Agency. And thank you all for sharing your time with us today. I have some concerns about the downtown zoo, a couple concerns. Grange Audubon Center is still getting its legs as a very kind of a new facility. COSI's coming back after some struggles. I mean, if you're down there, are you going to pull away from them? And then secondly, if you have animals down there, what's going to happen to them during Red, White, and Boom? Thank you.
So thank you for your question. And we're so excited to be part of downtown. As you see the waterway and the green space that's providing the park-like settings, the way that we're going to, or the city is going to honor our veterans. We know that this is a hub for COSI and the zoo and a place to honor our veterans. It'll be a fantastic place to be. But as we have a design team and we look at the adventure that we're going to offer, it is built in a way that it will be protecting our animals. The animals will be out on their areas during the day, and then in the evening they'll have holding where it's nice, peaceful, and quiet. As we talk about the opportunities, we are very excited to not only represent species that you haven't seen in Columbus, Ohio before, but we also think it's important that we are able to enhance the educational value as well.
Do you have a response, or shall we go to the next question?
No, we do. And we want to thank her for the question. And she raised a COSI issue, which is very salient to this. If you remember, COSI in the early 2000s likewise came along and asked Franklin County for a property tax levy to support that, to help support expansion and those types of things. That was turned down almost 2-1. COSI then hired a David Cheeseborough. I know this gentleman because he lives in Upper Arlington, and he came in to revamp COSI because of where it was and the failure of the levy, and he's done a tremendous job. And if you take a look at just the change from the Columbus Dispatch editorials when the COSI levy was in its infancy, and they had 4 or 5 editorials saying, please vote for it, please vote for it, please vote for it. And then when it failed, and they got Mr. Cheeseborough in, and he revamped the organization, now if you take a look in the last just 6 months, the Columbus Dispatch has written 2 very good editorials extolling the virtues of Mr. Cheeseborough and how COSI has managed to get this done without taxpayer infusion.
Next question, please.
Hi, my name is Shuba Lembach, and I live in Upper Arlington, and it's a community we chose specifically because of its educational system. I have a pretty amazing 11-year-old who just at dinner last night was asking me, Mom, how do you get into an Ivy League university? And so what I'm really interested in knowing is how the 91% in particular, how the investment into this effort is going to support learning and education for all of our kids in Franklin County.
Thank you for the question. That's our mission. Our mission is to inspire. It's to lead and to educate, and we are so proud that we're able to have hundreds of thousands of students each year going through educational programs, either through field trips, camps, and we're providing Franklin County with scholarships so we can serve the underserved as well. As we talk about the future, the thing that makes the Columbus Zoo so fantastic is that immersion, the opportunity to not only talk about the animal, but to also represent the habitat, and the most important part, to talk about culture, because the key to conservation is coexistence. The thing that I'm so proud of, and I've been saying this ever since I met Jack in 1995, the next Jack Hanna resides in Columbus, but she's only 5 years old. It's our role to inspire her. Maybe she's 11. And it's our role. I believe that. I truly believe in my heart that we need more people to be ambassadors for this planet. Folks, we only have one planet. We've got to take care of it. We've got to make sure that we're telling the stories about these beautiful animals and learning about biology. It's so important, and recycling.
Response?
I've been a teacher for over 25 years, and I will say that I like to see my tax dollars go to education. One of my grandchildren attends the Columbus Public School. He's in kindergarten, and they have an all-day program, and you can't imagine what a difference that makes. I have another youngster that's in the Upper Arlington School District. The average taxpayer for property taxes in Upper Arlington is $8,000, and this is by the auditor's figures. And you can get a lot of education for $8,000. I want to see that spread across Franklin County, because if you go into Whitehall, it's $1,696, and if you go into Worthington, it's $5,807. Our children need education, and I believe the zoo does present education, but it belongs in a classroom. That is where we have them, not for 3 or 4 hours, 5 times a week. You have them for 180 days, unless we have snow. And that makes a huge difference. I want a teenager to be able to write a clear, precise sentence. I want them to have logic and reason, and that can only be done in a classroom.
Next question, please.
Marion Harris, and just an aside, education does happen at the zoo. I took my then 8-year-old granddaughter, she's now 19, and we share the same common memory. We fed a rhinoceros an apple out of our hand, and it's something that we will remember forever. I mean, every time I see one of your animals at an event, I learn something new, and I'm a senior. Anyway, my question is this. Mr. Becker, on the Ann Fisher show yesterday, you stated that the downtown zoo would take the place, would replace the Vets Memorial. Now, you touched on that, but it wasn't clarified. That it's my understanding that the downtown zoo is all the way over on the south side, not on anywhere near Vets Memorial. It has nothing to do with Vets Memorial, and I'm hoping that somebody could clarify that.
You want to take that, and then?
Yeah, that'd be fine. Thank you for your question. We don't mean to intimate that the zoo is going on the VETS website, or I'm sorry, on the VETS situs. The county commissioners have apparently decided that Vets Memorial is to be raised, and there's going to be development among that peninsula. We haven't seen the schematics, we haven't seen the renderings. I did see a brief clip on WBNS News where they had something. Where the proximity is going to be is wherever it is. It's going to be around the situs. Okay, we have no idea where.
It's 3 blocks away.
Okay.
3 blocks away.
So did that answer your question, ma'am?
Now, I think what she was referring to is specifically on your website, you specifically stated that the zoo was knocking down vets and putting a banquet hall. That's exactly what it said. But today it's been removed.
Better correct it than wrong.
Thank you.
Next question, please.
Yes. My name is Baylor Myers. I'm a lifelong county resident. My family has resided in this county for over 100 years, and I work with Americans for Prosperity, Ohio. So I have a question for Mr. Kulewicz. Have you considered the impact this tax increase will have on our county residents living on fixed incomes during a recession?
Yes, and we've considered that, and that's why it will remain roughly 0.8% of the overall average residential property tax, and add no more than 43 cents a week to the tax bill of the owner of a $100,000 home. And we've also considered the fact of what it adds to the quality of life of people on fixed income, for their children, their grandchildren, the opportunities for education. There were 150,000 children who went through the Columbus Zoo last year. 20,000 students from the Columbus public school system went on to formal zoo programs. The zoo goes out, presents free assemblies at Franklin County schools, low-cost education programs. Every Franklin County student gets a substantial discount, gets into the zoo for $2. So we appreciate and respect the impact of this tax on everybody, and that is exactly why it is as low as it is.
Well,
And perhaps, you know, and let me take this opportunity to ask you to call or talk to your friends in Arlington, Virginia, 2111 Wilson Boulevard, Suite 350. They are telling people, what they are telling the people of Franklin County is that their entire tax bill is going to go up 105%. So that means that if that fixed income person is paying $4,000 a year in taxes, your friends at Arlington, Virginia, in Suite 350 are telling them that their tax bill is going to go up over $8,000 after Election Day. That is an absolute falsehood. They're trying to scare people. And since you know them, would you call them right after our meeting here? Now we've clarified that, please.
I obviously have quite a few disagreements with what you are saying. I'm not going to outlay them here. We do have an office here in Columbus, 2720 Airport Drive, Columbus, Ohio, 43219. Please stop by. I'd like to talk to you afterwards. Thank you.
And there will also be an opportunity for everyone to talk outside in the hall after the lunch. Please stay. Please stay. Jim, your response to that question?
I'm not sure, Carol, that I want to step outside in the hallway you're talking about, but I'd be glad to respond. I'd be glad to respond to your question. We wouldn't be here today if the Columbus Zoo had have just renewed this tax. They're replacing it. So under a renewal, this is also costing us an additional 12.5%, because as many of you are aware, the legislature took away the rollback where you pay 7/8 of your property tax. The state, in return for the state income tax back in the early 80s, pays 12.5%. As a result of that, and if you take a look at what happened in Cincinnati last fall, the Cincinnati Zoo put on a renewal, same millage, same amount of money, that passed 80%. I wouldn't have spent the last 2 days with Mr. Kulewicz had the Columbus Zoo followed the same model. That would have given them the same $18 million for the next 10-year period. They had that option, okay, and they chose not to do it. So this does double the zoo tax by 105%.
Well, then, Mr. Becker, maybe I've talked you into something over the past 2 days, and I'm glad you're now supporting the status quo, but up to this moment in time, you and your friends also were calling for a 25% reduction in the operating budget of the Columbus Zoo. That means taking away a quarter of what we have up there. That means telling 2,500 of our animals that I'm sorry, you have to go elsewhere. That means telling 500,000 of our 2 million visitors, I'm sorry, we can't let you in. That means telling a quarter of the school children to come through, I'm sorry, there's not room. Where does it end?
Hold those thoughts. I'm sorry, we won't have time for any more questions because we have to do, you want to know? Okay, sure, our last question.
Oh, geez, no pressure. I'll try to
That's
go
okay.
quickly. I sheepishly am still a little confused. If I understand correctly, and I may be completely incorrect here, currently the zoo resides in Delaware. Franklin County pays the taxes. The sales tax go to Delaware for police, fire, and EMT. So that what Franklin County gets is the zoo that sits in Delaware County. The satellite, I think, is a great idea and concept because, as you said, a lot of low-income families who live in Franklin County and currently pay for the zoo that they can't even get to are already paying for it. Now they're going to double it. Will the sales taxes in the satellite zoo go to Franklin County? And since only 9% of this levy is going to the satellite zoo and 91% would have to come from private funding, does that still stand chance to pass or be built if the levy is not passed? Would we still get a satellite zoo without the levy?
So as we talk about our master plan, we'd have to look. We're very positive, very optimistic that the Franklin County voters want and support the zoo like they have been for the last 29 years. So as we look forward to the future, I want to address the fact that this is a community zoo, but we look at that economic impact of $238 million and over 2,000 people that are working at the zoo, they're living in Franklin County. And it's important that people realize that when you talk about the economic impact, absolutely you want to talk about the whole picture. So when they are coming and staying in a hotel, or they're going to a gas station, or they're eating out after they've enjoyed their day with their family, it's about an investment. Honestly, this levy is about jobs and job-related income. That's what this is about.
Please respond to this question if you like.
Sure. We're glad that she asked that. She's right. We're bearing the brunt. Franklin County's carrying, again, $18 million. If this passes, they're requesting that we now pay $33 million annually. This, for a 30-year period, this is getting up to $1 billion, and that adds up to a lot of money.
Okay, one more question.
Hi, good afternoon. Ryan Scheck. Ms. Lorms, I wanted to ask you a question with regards to the downtown location. You stated that you were an educator for 25 years and that you believe in education. Without editorializing, or at least minimally editorializing here, I believe that education takes place in all facets. As a father of a 19-month-old, one of the attractions of the downtown location is its 365-day-a-year availability. How can you, how do you compromise the fact that even though the zoo is seasonal up in Powell, that we lose 180 days of educational opportunities, especially with the winter that we had, for parents who are looking for opportunities to inspire our children, to educate them on what surrounds them?
Thank you for your question. My family went to the zoo. I didn't. My grandchildren went to the zoo all during the year. They have a membership. I do think the zoo has an educational place. It's just that I think that the classroom is the most important place. We know that a large percentage of Franklin County children can't pass the 3rd grade reading. And that's something, as a young father, you appreciate that your child will be able to read. And we know that our high school children that are graduating aren't prepared to go into your large corporations, your banks, and so forth. And it's a common complaint by business owners. And I'd like to see that changed. And believe me, I think we can share educational experiences, but we have limited dollars. And that's where I'd like to see the money spent. Thank you.
Take a minute to respond to the question, and then each side will get 2 minutes. If you don't have, that's fine.
No, just, I mean, you know, the statistics that Mrs. Lorms points out, I completely agree with. And there's all the more reason that we ought to be trying in our society here in Franklin County to reach out to children in as many different ways as we can. And, you know, to me, it's the difference between giving a student a book about a penguin, and there are many students who will read that book, they will absorb it, and they will understand the penguin from that book. But there are some students who will learn much more about that penguin and about a lot of other things. If you put the penguin on the table, you bring the penguin to their school, or they come downtown to the new Franklin County facility, and they're there, they see the penguin, they can touch the penguin, they learn about South America, about South Africa, about oceans and currents and fish and climate and all sorts of things. So I mean, it's a different way. I'm not saying that zoos are the only way to educate children, but they are another way, and they're an innovative way. And given the difficulty, the challenges that we face that you point out, and I completely agree with our reading rates and graduation rates in particular, I mean, don't we need to be trying some new ways, any new way that we can think of? And I can tell you, the zoo education program is so successful that the Secretary of Education in the United States came out one day to see it. So
We now have to go to our closing statements, and Jim and Mary, 2 minutes.
Okay. Thank you. Again, thanks for the opportunity for being here today. Again, 3rd zoo, downtown, doubling your tax. Delaware, even with the property tax that they're supposedly going up, pales in comparison to what Franklin County has had to pay for this. Again, had they just asked for a renewal of this, same 18 million, 10 years out, we wouldn't be here today. There is no 25% request for any reduction. We never asked for any of that. They came in with this tax from February from the county commissioners, and going from, again, 18 million to 33 million per year, and we just think that that was something that was over the top. In addition to that, their own financials show that they have over 40 million in investments and cash reserves, so the zoos aren't strapped right now. So if this thing is turned down, by the way, on May the 6th, no money is taken away from the Columbus Zoo. Their current levy goes through the rest of 2014 and goes up through December of 2015. They have next year that they could ask for a renewal of their current millage and receive their 18 million. We want to, again, thank you for having us today, Carol, and thank you for the nice job you did.
Thank you. Tom and John, 2 minutes.
Let me start, and then Tom will conclude, if that's okay. First, thank you to everybody here who cares enough about the Columbus Zoo and about our community to come here and spend your lunch hour today to listen to this dialogue and be thoughtful about the way we approach the zoo levy. We appreciate it, and that's what ultimately makes it a better community for all of us. We see and hear two different views and visions for the future of our community and of the Columbus Zoo. I don't have to articulate them for you. I mean, one is more optimistic and hopeful. One sees us kind of standing still and good enough. But in the meantime, the overwhelming fact is that this area is growing like crazy, and we do have needs that we have to anticipate and meet and be ready for, and that's why we're here. The other phenomenon that we see in this election, though, is that's more concernful, is two types of dialogue. We've had, I think, here today a very useful, respectful, legitimate dialogue, and even though I don't like to hear some of the things Mrs. Lorms was saying about our exhibits and things like that, I mean, that's fair game, that's legitimate. If you think we're spending too much on giraffes or not enough on our zebras or something, or too much on the aquarium, that we ought to be talking about that, because that's very important. But we hear another kind of rhetoric coming out of our new friend in town from Arlington, Virginia, who's trying to scare our voters and tell our people that their entire property tax will double, well, more than double, if we adopt this levy. That type of dialogue we don't need in this community. It may be the shades of things to come if we don't put a stop to it here. So when you go to vote on Election Day, I urge you to vote on the merits of the levy. If you like what the zoo is doing and you think that we think we can do even more for the community, for the common good, and to make this a better place, please vote yes. But to the extent, if you've got the slightest doubt in your mind, you can go either way. Just think about the message that we want to send to people all around the nation, because the Supreme Court decisions to which Mr. Becker referred, I mean, that it unleashes the money. Do we want people to be free to have that kind of a dialogue? Outsiders to come in here and tell us what to do with our little zoo levy? People who don't have an interest in the zoo or in our community, they don't live here now. They won't be here after Election Day. But I mean, think with your heart. Think about what the zoo does for you in our community. Thank you.
Time is up. Thank you to all of you. And Bill?
Well, we hope you enjoyed today's forum. We encourage you to continue the conversation out in the lobby over coffee and cookies. Once more, please thank our sponsors, the Ohio Farm Bureau Federation, Hannah News Service, U.S. Bank, and Cornick-Kokosing. And of course, let's thank our speakers, Tom Stalf and John Kulewicz, Jim Becker and Mary Lorms, and our moderator, Carol Looper. And thank you for being here. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you. Bill, thank you.
Thank you.